Late night and alcohol.
What's up, everybody? We're back. Dallas Urban Access presents Late Nights and Alcohol. I know it's been a minute. We've been getting some text messages, some Facebook messages, people just asking, when are y'all coming back? Been going through a lot, not negatively, just, building, moving around, making moves, coming up with new, different ideas for Dallas Urban Access as a whole. But without further ado, we are back, and this is the newest installment of Late Nights and Alcohol. I hope that you all have enjoyed everything that we've done up to this point. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and YouTube as well, Dallas Urban Access. We're working on a lot of new things coming up for this year and going here and beyond. So just make sure you check us out on Facebook, YouTube. Follow us if you want to request anything that you want us to cover. If you have events you want us to cover, just hit us up and we'll do our best to accommodate you. So let's just jump right into it. Every segment we try to bring you something new, something different that you can take from this. And tonight we're going to talk about women. And I know you're saying, well, what about women? We're going to talk about submissiveness in women and the role of a woman in a relationship. But not just any woman, the African American woman. And I brought somebody along with me for the ride tonight. She will be coming on in a few minutes to give you her side of the story, her aspect of what she thinks about the role of a woman is in a relationship. Now, let's just jump right into the meat of it. In media today, you have a lot of people that, for whatever reason, have their objections with different races dating each other. And one of the most common things that we see are African American men dating women outside of the race. And it has stirred up quite the uproar with African American women. Let me first start off by saying, in my opinion, love doesn't have a color. Two people love each other, they go for what they know. But I mean, it is, in today's society, it's expected that us as African American men stick to our own kind and we date African American women. So I guess I'll just start by talking about my personal experience with this. Let's start off. I toured the country for maybe like 3 years in a row. I got to see a lot of different things, went a lot of different places. And I was at the University of Missouri maybe like a year ago and had an event there, wrapped it up, and went out that night to a couple of bars, and I'm seeing, I'm out having a couple of drinks with my friends. Everything's, going great. And I'm seeing a lot of brothers that were dating women outside of the race. And so I saw one, saw one couple. Okay, that's cool, doing his thing. And then I see another. Then I see another, and I see another. To be honest, I didn't see one, I don't think I saw any African American couples together. Everybody was doing their own thing. But it was mostly with the black men who were dating outside of our race. So one particular place I went, and I think I had some nachos or something like that. I don't have nothing to do with it, but anyway, the nachos were good, that's why I remember. And I saw this one guy, and he walked in. I saw him walk in with this lady. She was Caucasian, she was white. And I didn't get to see her fully because, my view was kind of blocked, but I saw her face. And as I proceeded to stand up to go back to the, I think I was going to get another drink, I saw the young lady, and she had a fat ass. I was gonna say it. She was a white woman. She had a fat ass. It was fat. It was the ass of a black woman. I mean, it was fat. I mean, it was like a ass like a black woman. And so she went to the bathroom or something like that and went outside to her car. And I just pulled a young brother aside that she was with, and I was like, "What's going on?" I was asking, about what was going on the campus that night. Just see what it was to get into or in the area as a whole. If there were any other bars I should hit, and I was like, at that time, I just asked him. I was like, I see a lot of different types of women around here. Why are the black women? And he's like, man, I don't know. I don't talk to them. And I asked him why, and he began to give me some insight. He was pretty much telling me that, I don't date black women. They got too much attitude. They want you to do all of this and do all of that. And man, you get you one of these white women, and they are very submissive, and they'll do what you tell them to do. And you can do whatever you want. basically he was just saying you could trick off and do anything you want to do on the side, and that woman will still be there waiting for you. Is that my personal belief? No, it's not. But I'm just saying that's what I was told. So I mean, as I toured the country more and more, especially on the college campuses with African American athletes, I was getting a lot of that from them. It was all the same thing. You know, we date white women because they're more submissive. Which leads me to my next point. What do we expect from African American women? I mean, most men in general, you know, they want a woman that, you know, they want the basics. They want a woman that can cook, can clean, and that's well educated, or can at least carry some type of conversation that can bring something to the table. It's always been like that. You know, you start out in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and you see what the role of a woman is, but it has changed. And in some cases, males haven't adopted to that. Especially African American women. Look at African American women from the days past up to now. Black women are going to school. Black women are graduating from school. They are getting jobs. They are getting very good jobs. They're becoming doctors, lawyers, and in some cases, they're making more than the African American male, than their African American husband. And sometimes, as African American men, we get intimidated by that. And it is a situation where a lot of African American men, they don't want the attitude. They don't want the neck rolling. They don't want the texting what you're doing, where you're at, what you're about to do. So they find that it's easier to date outside of their race because they end up getting a woman who's not African American, that's very submissive, that's yes sir, yes honey, you want to make you a sandwich, honey, you want to go outside, you want to do this, you do that, you don't have to check in with me, that's fine. And then, as I saw when I was in Missouri that time, just to backtrack, you know, the white woman, she had a big old booty. So it's like, from that guy's perspective, he's like, you telling me I could get a chick that's built like a black woman, but doesn't act like one? You know, to them, especially to younger, you know, African American men, that's a gold mine. That's how they look at it. Me personally, you know what I'm saying? I love my sisters. I mean, I love my sisters. You know, I love a little attitude every once in a while. You know, I love a little neck rolling. You know, I want a woman who can stand on her own 2 feet. Not to say that women that aren't African American do that. You know, women of all races are doing magnificent things in this world, in this country, whatever you want to put it. But the role of the African American woman has changed throughout the years. Like I said, you start off in the 50s, 60s, 70s. The 50s and 60s is more housewife. You know, women were more to be seen and not heard. To stay at home, raise the kids, cook, have a hot plate waiting on you when you come home. But now it's almost flipped around. You have households where the male is staying home raising the children, and the male is staying home doing those things, and the female come home from work and is expected to have a meal waiting on her. Is there anything wrong with that? No, there certainly is not. But from a male's perspective, sometimes we get so tied up in the stereotype of what we think a woman should be and how they should act that we forget that women have made advancements far from the 50s. We're not in the 50s anymore. You know, women are doing excellent things in the communities. They're doing excellent things in the household, and some have taken on the role of being the head of household, and it intimidates us as men sometimes. Because sometimes men feel like they are supposed to be the provider, which we are. We are supposed to be the head of household, the provider, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. But in a nutshell, I said all that to say we as men have to adjust. We have to accept that women are equals. You know, in most cases, they're capable of doing anything we can do. And we just have to live with that, and we have to adjust with that. And as long as we're, you know, working to try to come to some cohesive agreement, that it's going to be good. Can every African American man do that? I'm not sure. But that's just my spin on things. We have to learn to adjust and accept these women as our equal. Like I said, love has no color, but I'm going to bring on my good friend, Ebony, and she's going to give you her perspective.
What it is, what it ain't. This your girl Ebony, aka Eat Apples on the mic till 5 at night. JK, but I'm here on Urban Access, visiting my man Lloyd. The topic today was the black woman's role in relationship, or as we should say, the stereotypical black woman's role in the relationship. Now, what I'm going to try not to do here is be like the stereotypical woman and be unlogical. They say men are way more logical than women, so I'm going to try to stick to logic today when talking about this subject. It's late night and alcohol, So I'm gonna be sipping on this subject. We're gonna have to sip because women, it's like we're gonna have to swallow our pride. Okay, Black women specifically. A woman's role in her household or a relationship. Basically, like Lloyd said, women adapt. And in the 50s and 60s, as he referred to, we were doing some adapting, and we had to adapt fast because drastic things was happening during that time. So the Black woman had to learn how to be all. They had to learn how to adapt over time, so they became, in American history, the Black woman became not only the working woman or the woman raising white women's children or the head of her household or the discipline figure. She had to be the cook, the counselor, the preacher, and the teacher after the transition of the 50s and 60s, like Lloyd talked about. So this left Black women having to learn how to be very aggressive. They had to learn how to be very independent, and all of this has a big factor on how Black women act in today's time. So with that being said, it's 2014. We're gonna have to learn how to adjust back. I don't wanna make it sound like it's a negative thing, but Black women are gonna have to learn how to put themselves on the back burner to give Black men that opportunity to be the head of his household again. Clearly, we as Black women know that we can do it all. We can accomplish it all. So as far as this going back into the role of a woman and what Black men are looking for in a wife or a woman, it's almost like we're gonna have to take a step back, reevaluate ourselves, reevaluate our attitudes, and say, you know what? I can cook this meal, put it on my man and send him off to work with a smile on my face without being so, let's say aggressive towards the fact that we're in the kitchen making a sandwich. We don't want to be known as the woman in the kitchen making a sandwich. Make your own damn sandwich. You know what I mean? So Black women are gonna have to learn how to be that back burner or be able to support the Black man and adjust, as Lloyd said. He said adjust and adapt. And he also talked about how we are all equal. That much is true. But as far as Black men going to Black women for what mainstream media, he talked about media when Lloyd first came into the session. He talked about how media portrayed Black men looking for a white woman or looking for basically what mainstream media portrays as the perfect wife or the perfect woman. And history did not make Black women that big screen, that television, Betty Crocker wife or woman. That's not what history did. History did some bad shame on Black women, so Black women had to learn how to adapt to that. So that's the main reason Black women are as hard as they are, is because they had to adapt over time. But clearly, we see where that's going. It's making our men intimidated, as Lloyd said, because he was talking about how some Black men are intimidated by the Black woman because it's always, asking questions, going off in public, neck rolling, eye rolling, stereotypical Black woman. So, what was I saying? Basically, it's times make us who we are, and like Lloyd talked about, we as women learn how to adapt. So it's just going to take Black women learning how to, or being willing to put themselves on the back burner to support and uplift their men, just like the white women are doing. Or any wife. If you just looking all around the world, women, the traditional woman is in the kitchen. She's working. She's, you know, taking care of the household, taking care of the children, and the men are making the money, bringing home the bacon. So in order for us to get back to tradition, a lot of things would have to change for, you know, for Black women to feel comfortable. But it's not about comfortability. It's about sacrificing. So Black women are going to have to sacrifice putting themselves before their men. Black women are going to have to sacrifice and say, I guess I can let him take the wheel, not be too controlling or too enforceful or too aggressive. So that's my outlook on that whole thing. That's my outlook